Welcome to Healthy Living with Julie. On today's episode, I'd like to talk about weight loss, more specifically fat loss. So if you're one of those people who feels like you've tried everything, every diet, different ways of eating, and you haven't been successful, or maybe you're just trying to make some healthier choices for you and your family, then don't go anywhere. Before we get into fat loss, let's talk a little bit about why it is that we tend to put on fat. So there's many medications out there that can cause weight gain. I know some of the birth controls, some anxiety meds will cause some weight gain. Stress is a huge factor. We have a hormone in our body called cortisol, which helps control the metabolism of glucose, which is your sugars, helps reduce inflammation. When that gets out of whack, it can also cause weight gain. Lack of sleep is huge. What else can we think about? Inactivity is another big one, right? If you're not moving a lot, sometimes maybe when you were younger you did a lot of sports, whereas now you don't. I know that for myself, for 13 years I worked for a company delivering, and I was always on the go and moving constantly, pretty much all day, every day. So to go from that to, say, a desk job, that's a big change, right? So that can also cause weight gain. But the main reason why we gain weight is food, right? Portions are too big, eating the wrong foods. Food is available everywhere. And nowadays, how do you know what to eat, what not to eat? There's this diet, there's that diet, low carb, keto, do this program, don't eat this, eat that. It's so confusing. So I'm going to try to simplify this as much as possible. So with food, think about it this way the next time that you're shopping. Hopefully this sticks with you. If it doesn't grow out of the ground or on a tree, or it doesn't have a mother, chances are it doesn't belong in your mouth. So thinking processed, deep fried. I'm not telling you not to eat any of those foods ever, but if you're looking to make some healthier choices, those are the foods you kind of want to stay away from. So let's look at some different diets now. When you look at, say, low carb, for example, people will still cut out foods that are good for you because they're higher in carbs. So things like oatmeal, which is really good for you. Sweet potatoes, they are all healthy foods, but we cut them out because now we think that by going low carb, we're going to lose weight, which, yes, a lot of the diets, a lot of the programs out there will help you, but are they suited for you? Or is it something that you're just going to do for, say, the next 30 days or less and then give up? Because that's really important before you jump on the bandwagon and do what everybody else is doing. Or, you've seen some pictures of someone who's had incredible success and you want that too. To maintain proper weight loss, you want to do it slowly. I know you don't want to hear this because everyone wants to just overnight, right? But you got to think to yourself, you didn't gain the weight overnight, so you're not going to lose it overnight either, if you want to keep it off, right? Then there's keto, where you're eating mostly high fat, super low carb. Most people stay under 20 grams per day. Does it work? Absolutely, it can work. But is that something that you are going to stick to? Have you educated yourself enough about it to follow it and to do it properly? Like keto was created more so to starve the body of sugars, which when people have, say, cancer, you want to reduce that. So you want to starve the cancer, basically. There's lots of other health benefits out there for it, but educate yourself, right? There's all sorts of programs out there. You know, Beachbody is a good one. I mean, they've combined both nutrition and exercise into one. You know, the portion control containers, you know, learning what a portion is again. It seems like we've forgotten. So there's a lot of risks with being overweight. It's not just like on a physical, superficial standpoint, the way you look. Belly fat especially can be very, very dangerous. You know, lots of health issues come from that. So an easy measurement that you can actually take, now this isn't going to tell you whether you're overweight or not, but at risk with having the visceral fat, which is more dangerous than, say, the fat that you carry around your legs, your butt, your stomach more so. So you just want to find your belly button. And for women, you want to be under 35 or less, and for men, 40 or less. So find your belly button, measure in inches, like 32, okay, I'm safe. Just a little tool, right? Don't always depend on the scale. It's a great tool to help you see that you're losing some weight, but it's not always accurate. Measuring tapes are great. Pair of jeans, you know, that you're not yet fitting into is another great one. So when it comes to nutrition, I want you to think of your body like a car, right? Your car will not run on empty, or truck or whatever, right? And you don't run really well on empty either. You need gas in your car, right? Try filling your gas tank with something else. How is it going to function? Our bodies are the same way. So if you're going to feed your body good nutrients, it's going to function a lot better than if you're feeding it, you know, high sugar, high process. All these things that our bodies weren't meant to process, but they're everywhere. And there's, you know, social events, there's, you know, time restraints is a huge one too. A big reason why people eat out, or they don't want to cook, or they don't know what to cook. I think a lot of times we just don't know what to eat anymore. And also the way that we were brought up, right? Like we might have been brought up on certain foods that now our bodies crave. Sugars act kind of like a ping pong machine in your brain. So you want more, right? It's hard to eliminate. It's a big addiction. So think about that. Think about what you're putting into your body to help it function for you. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, I'm going to share some measuring tools with you. Welcome back to Healthy Living with Julie. I'm going to talk a little bit about calories now. Okay, I know that counting calories can be a little much, like who has time for that, right? But if you're just starting off and you want to make some better choices, knowing how to portion control is really, really going to help you. I'm not saying to do this forever, but these are great tools, right? So I'm trying to give you as much information as I can, as simple as possible, for you to be able to get that weight off for good. So earlier I talked about Beachbody. So Beachbody, when you sign up for the program, comes with these containers, which are a great idea because it teaches you, again, to portion control, right? You get so much in this container, so much in this. There's Weight Watchers, counts points, kind of the same concept as counting calories. Again, this isn't something you have to do forever, but just teach yourself, once again, what a portion is, especially when you're eating some of the foods that are more processed. You want to be able to, not overdo it. Most products that you buy will have, I think they all need to have it. Sometimes if you buy something at a market or something like that, it won't have it, or fruits and vegetables, that kind of stuff. But, coconut oil, for example, really good for you. But just 1 tablespoon is 120 calories, right? So it adds up quite quickly if you're having a lot of it. Now, I mean, you wouldn't be eating this by the spoonful, but regardless. Kitchen scales can be a great tool to weigh things. So, for example, I have these coconut clusters. Now, a serving size for this is 20 grams. Most people will just eat it out of the bag, right? But if you were to actually measure what that portion looks like, so that's 13 grams right there. And there's 20 grams, right? So that's not a lot. So how easy is it for you to eat 100 grams of this, right? So times 100 times 110, like you're almost at your calories for the entire day. So it adds up pretty quickly. Same thing with peanut butter, natural peanut butter. Really healthy, good for you. But again, it adds up quickly. So measuring spoons, measure a spoonful. Just things to make you aware of what a portion is. We've got something boxed and processed. A quarter of the package prepared with skim milk is 220 calories. How many people eat the entire box, right? When you're eating foods that are more nutritious, good for you, more filling, keep your energy levels higher, your blood sugars, think vegetables, fruits, whole grains, like the good for you food, proteins. Like your body processes proteins, good fats, good carbohydrates a lot better than it does, chips and pop and chocolate bars and all that kind of stuff. So the better you take care of your body, the more that it's going to take care of you as well. But if you're trying to lose weight, those are some great tools. I don't know if you've noticed, I have my new Fitbit Versa. I've wanted this one for a while. I had an Alta before. This one I purchased with my Air Miles. I wanted an Apple Watch, but I didn't want to spend $600 on the new one, so Air Miles it is. But you can get one that's very, very simple for way, way cheaper. That'll track, say, your steps, your heart rate, getting that heart rate up when you're exercising. I immediately set a goal for myself to not go under 10,000 steps per day. So the other night, I was in Winnipeg. I had like a pamper me day. It was the end of the day, like 10 o'clock at night, and I was only at about 7,000 steps. So what did I do? I went to Superstore and I walked around for like an hour until I hit my steps. I feel like accountability is huge. Even when it comes to a scale, for great example. So as a personal trainer, I have clients that have the goal of losing weight. Some want to gain weight as well, gain muscle, not fat. But with all of them, I always tell everyone, do not step on that scale, especially for the first 6 weeks. You know, sometimes if you've tried a whole bunch of diets before, your body might respond differently. Sometimes you might lose a lot the first week, not a lot the second, you know, but at the end of the day, you know when you're overeating or undereating. You know, your body will go into starvation mode if you restrict your calories way too much. And then your body's like, when am I going to get fed next? So whenever you do feed it, it tends to store whatever you feed it because it doesn't know when it's going to be fed. So I do blind weigh-ins. So what that means is every week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever we agree on, I weigh my client, but they close their eyes. And that keeps them accountable to me so that, you know, they know, oh, I have a weigh-in coming. But it also helps with them not seeing the numbers, because that can be tricky in our minds, right? Like you step on the scale, you feel like I've done everything right. And then you're like, ugh, I've only lost like a pound. A pound of fat, guys, is a lot. Like it's a pound gone. So think about when you lose 5 pounds, like multiply this times 5. That's a lot of fat. But we're so hard on ourselves and we want to see results right away. And that's not realistic, right? In the long term. You know, it's good to be focused. It's good to have goals. You know, if you have a lot of weight that you want to lose, baby steps. You'll get there by making some healthier choices. Small changes, you know, like not overnight. A lot of people will start on a Monday and I'm gonna eat right this week. And it's usually like a bunch of salads or low carb or this or whatever diet. You know, again, those diets are great if they're suitable to yours and your family's lifestyle. Financially too, right? Like there's a lot of diets out there that can get quite expensive. You know, and we're always trying to replace sugared with this, with that. Your body is still addicted to certain things, right? Like sugar-free. I mean, I use some sugar-free sauces and items like that. I like the taste of them. They're a lot lower in calories, but it's not something that you have to have, right? So just think about that for a second, what you're putting into your body on a regular basis and how it's going to help you achieve your goals. Now, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Healthy Living with Julie. So, are you ready to get that fat off for good? If you feel like you've tried everything, you know, start with your whys. I want you to make a list of your whys. Why do you want to lose that weight? Is it because you want to be more healthy? Is it because you want to have more energy? You know, maybe for your kids. Maybe you just want to feel better, sleep better. Maybe you have some health issues. There's only you know your whys, and there's many of them, right? So make that list for yourself, for nobody else, right? Because nobody force feeds you. It's your body, and you only get one your entire life, so you might as well take care of it, right? Be accountable. Be accountable to yourself, and if that's not enough, then maybe a workout buddy, you know, someone that's going to stick to it. Maybe it's just like nutrition, doesn't even have to be exercise. Maybe you do need help. Maybe you do need a trainer or, you know, a program or, you know, a meal plan, something that's going to help you be more accountable, because accountability is huge to stick to things. I know I do it myself. I do blind weigh-ins myself just to stay accountable. So Even though I go to the gym every day, well, not every day, but most days, and I try to feed my body the best I can, I still feel like I have to stay accountable. I had issues throughout my life with emotional eating because of abuse that I went through as a child, some relationships, not having family around, lots of factors can affect, and when I left my career as well, I mean, I started moving a lot less. Even though I was still going to the gym, I mean, I kept eating the same way I was when I was working full time, but then I was moving a lot less, right? So burning a lot less calories. There's 3,500 calories in 1 pound of body fat. So in order to lose or gain body fat, there has to be either an increase in exercise, reduction in calories, food intake, in order to lose weight, or when you're gaining, it's usually because you're moving less and eating more and eating the wrong foods too, because your body is not going to process bad foods, like the foods that have more chemicals and more so out of a box than they are with, say, fruits and vegetables, right? It's a total different breakdown how your body processes it. Read labels. If you're not sure about something, I'm not just talking about like calorie wise, but ingredients. If something has ingredients that you cannot pronounce, you probably shouldn't eat it. Again, there's going to come times where you are going to eat out. You are going to eat. Don't be so hard on yourself. We are so hard on ourselves when it comes to dieting. Like you went to a birthday party and you had cake. Okay, did you enjoy it? Good. Life goes on, right? It's not like throw in the towel and, oh, I can't do this, or, and a lot of times when we do that is because we're too restricted. We restrict ourselves way too much. Portion control, huge. We talked about that earlier. Measure. If need be, for the first little while. There's lots of really great apps on your phone. I've used Carb Manager, was a really good one. I found that a lot of the foods, drinks, even at like restaurants and stuff, I could pull up on there. Again, this isn't to make you go crazy and, make your relationship with food negative, which oftentimes is just to make you more aware. So by tracking, say for like a week, then you'll get an idea of how much calories you're taking in each day. On average, for a woman to maintain her current weight, I mean, this all depends on how much you weigh, your activity level, your job, like everything, right? But on average, to maintain, you're looking at about 2,000 calories per day, and about 1,500 if you want to lose some body fat, because there has to be, somewhat of a reduction. And for men, of course, they get a little bit more. So for men, it's around 2,500 to maintain and then 2,000 to lose. Again, not telling you to count your calories all day, every day, but it's just a little guideline, right? But if you're taking in the right foods and you're not, eating until you're like super, super full, I don't like that feeling personally. I don't like being hungry, and I don't like feeling super full. I think neither one is really great. Stick with fresh as much as possible, especially when you're shopping. You're in a grocery store, shop the perimeter is a really, except with some exceptions, such as like tuna, chia seeds, oats, that kind of stuff. But, shop the perimeter, stick more to, your meats, your vegetables, your fruits, all the good stuff, right? We have the common sense of knowing what foods are good for our bodies and which ones are not so good. And even when you're eating out, you can make some better choices. if you're not sure how the meal is prepared, you can always ask, right? So is it deep fried? Is it breaded? Can I get it baked instead? Like you do have some options that way. Maybe they won't do it for a certain thing, but you can have something else. You don't always have to have like a salad. And sometimes salads will actually count as like your whole caloric intake. I think I was looking at McDonald's, for example, their nutrition info, and some of the dressings, some of the things like really add up. So even when you think you're making better choices, sometimes you're not. And really, like, it's the marketing of everything. Like, shopping has become so difficult to shop for anything. It's like light this, low fat this, like even when you think something's healthy, I do food comparisons all the time, because people are blown away by, oh wow, like I thought that was good. Nuts, great example. Nuts, again, are really good for you, but in a very small portion. Cheese as well. But oftentimes, you go to buy some nuts and, they're salted and if you look at the ingredients, again, ingredients, huge. And there's added oils in there, added starches, all that kind of stuff. You want to stay away from that. So it's confusing when you're shopping, right? Meal prep. Get some things ready in advance. When you're on the go, have some things in the vehicle. There's so many things that you can do to set yourself up for success. Don't go after the latest trend and jump on the bandwagon. Educate yourself first and then make a decision. But in the meantime, just keep in mind that you only have one body, and you want to take care of it as best as you can by feeding it wholesome foods, and get moving, and you'll see the changes. It might take a little longer than you'd like, but in the long run, it's probably your best bet at keeping it off and feeling really great. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I hope you gained something from it. There's so much more I want to share with you. See you next time.